the Suns right now are reloading, not rebuilding. They're kind of in this in-between phase, Steven, is giving up potentially some of your young pieces and some young pieces that people are going to be mad that I included in this trade. Is that from a philosophy standpoint as a franchise right now worth it? Not saying Trae Young's a bad player, but to build a team that you and I both believe defensively probably doesn't have that ceiling to be a true contender.
I answer the question with a question of my own, and that is, with the Booker extension, do you feel like the Suns owe it to Devin Booker to spend the least amount of time that they possibly can in this retool, rebuild phase and get back to not just trying to scrap into the playoffs or play-in race, but be firmly entrenched in it?
I think they owe it to Devin Booker to build the best team possible. And sometimes that doesn't mean pressing fast forward at every single moment, right? Yes, would Trae Young be the second best player on the team and would be a better player than Jalen Green? Yes. Would he be a better fit offensively than Jalen Green? Yes. Could you build a team around Trae Young and Devin Booker easier than you could build a team around Jalen Green and Devin Booker? Yes. That being said, are you accelerating and giving up what little assets you have left because they're going to have to part with somebody, right? To accelerate this and not get to the heights that you need to. Because I don't see Jalen Green as a part of this team for the next 5 years, right? And I think that this situation, this Trae Young, Jalen Green trade is not something that would happen now. This is something I think when we get to the trade deadline, Atlanta's going to give it a shot. Suns are going to give it a shot to bump up Jalen Green's value. And then we're going to revisit this conversation in February. The Suns owe it to Devin Booker to try to win a championship. That doesn't always mean trying to put all of your chips to the center of the table at every possible moment, right? So maybe it would make them better in the short term. But by the end of that extension that Devin Booker just signed, would they have the ceiling that they could hit to reach championship? I think that's the legitimate, real, hard-hitting question that comes with pressing this button for Trae Young.
I guess to answer my own question, they owe it to him, yes, but the context has to make sense. So if you do this, you're going to be giving up some of the assets that you do have because you don't have. That's to make up for the assets that you literally just don't have in terms of draft pick compensation. So you brought up a point about, is it going to put you in or closer to win now than you are without it? Yes, you would be there, but I think the repercussions might be a little too loud on it. You have to have a firmly entrenched plan to, okay, we do this, we have to part with X, Y, and Z. You're not going to recoup those X, Y, and Z pieces you gave up, but you have to find ways to kind of insulate your roster the rest of the way to make it all make sense.
Right.
So I get the cause for pause with people in the chat and anybody else that's been kind of talking about this lately.
Now, maybe we go into this season and let's just kind of walk down this path and play little devil's advocate, because I think you and I are kind of sitting on the same page with this. Let's say that Jordan Ott finds a way defensively to make it work with Jalen Green and Devin Booker. Now, Jalen Green physically has much better tools for defense than Devin Booker, but not a good defender right now. And Devin Booker had the worst defensive season of his career, okay? Let's say Jordan Ott finds a way to make that offense and that defense click. And the Suns are better than expected, but not great, right? And you can see the vision of him working with two offensive-oriented guards, because you saw it with the Cavs, Garland and Mitchell, then with a 70% of a season, 65% of a season up to the All-Star break with Green and Booker. If you're the Suns front office and you're saying, well, we like what we've seen with Green and Booker, it's clear that having two shooting guards is not a sustainable build for this team. Trae Young's, maybe his value has gone down. Maybe he wants to play in Phoenix. Maybe he forces his way here and we can get him for okay value. We're going to give up something, but not 5 first-round picks because we don't have that to trade. You can talk yourself into building a hyper-offensive-oriented team with Trae Young as your 2, hoping he can improve a little on defense, and revisiting this, we're going to score 130 points per game, but a better fit in that backcourt than Bradley Beal and Devin Booker. Like, you would have the best passing backcourt in the NBA with Trae Young and Devin Booker. If Book works on his pull-up threes, you'd have one of the best three-point shooting backcourts in the NBA. You'd have one of the best ball handling backcourts in the NBA, one of the best pick and roll and pick and pop threats at the 1 and the 2 in the NBA. And if you say that's our identity, that's more buildable than Jalen Green and Devin Booker, then I could see that being a path that the Suns do explore.
Yeah. Issue comes from me though, which we'll dive into when we get to looking at the trade prospects in terms of trade templates we're looking at there. You have to have certain types of fives with Trae Young to make that, to get the most out of it. He's gonna make it work. He's no different than like a Chris Paul or a Steve Nash, where he can run pick and roll with anybody and make it a positive in terms of points per possession. But to get the absolute most out of it, you need some variance there. And I don't know if the Suns front court will have it to the extent that they would maybe hope to after partnering with what they need to even get him in-house and to begin with.
Yeah. I mean, and that's also the thing at the end of the day. Trae Young has to want to come here, and the Atlanta Hawks have to want what the Suns are offering. So what could the Suns offer? We have 8 trades that they could make that work. Technically, we'll let you decide whether or not that is realistic here. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It's a Trade Machine Friday edition of PHNX Suns.
We all silly like the mayor.